The plane was crowded, the hum of engines filling the cabin, when all eyes turned to him. Malik had just settled into his first-class seat, but something about his presence made a few passengers uneasy. Whispers rose, glares followed, and soon, a confrontation began to form. People who had never spoken to him suddenly decided they knew everything about him. Fear, anger, and prejudice swirled in the air like a storm, and Malik stayed calm, knowing that one wrong move could change everything. But what happened next would shock everyone on the plane and reveal a truth no one expected. Watch closely, because this story will leave you questioning what you think you know. Malik had flown countless times before, but this flight felt different. The first-class cabin gleamed under soft lights, leather seats stretching in neat rows, each passenger absorbed in their own world. He had booked the seat legitimately, paid the fare, yet as soon as he settled in, he felt the weight of judgment pressing down. Whispers ricocheted softly, eyes darting toward him, filled with suspicion he didn't deserve. Flight attendants moved discreetly, sensing the unease, while a few passengers began muttering about how out of place Malik seemed. None of it made sense. He was calm, polite, and clearly in the right. But bias often ignores reason. Malik knew the feeling too well. Every glance, every whisper, every sideways stare reminded him of times he had been judged before, times people assumed danger or incompetence based on his skin. But today, it wasn't just about him. It was about the unfolding tension that could escalate into chaos if not handled correctly. Every passenger carried a silent expectation, a judgment waiting to be proven right, and Malik, sitting quietly in his seat, felt the weight of it all. One wrong reaction, one sudden move, and the whispers could turn into something far worse. He took a deep breath, steadying himself, knowing that the truth, the reality of who he really was, would soon reveal itself, and it might just shock everyone on board. As the plane cruised above the clouds, the whispers in first class grew louder, turning into murmurs of suspicion. A few passengers, emboldened by their assumptions, began questioning Malik's presence. "Are you supposed to be here?" one muttered under her breath. Malik remained calm, his hands folded in his lap, refusing to rise to the bait. Flight attendants walked carefully down the aisle, offering polite smiles, yet their unease mirrored that of the passengers. No one had yet confronted him directly, but the energy in the cabin was heavy, almost suffocating. Then, the confrontation began. A wealthy-looking passenger stood abruptly, pointing toward Malik. "I don't think you should be in first class," he said, his voice cold and firm. Others nodded, some whispering agreements, as a small group approached Malik, intending to force him out. The tension escalated, thickening the air as stares followed every movement. Malik's calmness only intensified their frustration. He didn't argue, didn't flinch, but his presence alone challenged their biases. Time seemed to stretch as Malik assessed the situation. One wrong move, one reaction from anyone in the cabin could trigger chaos. The passengers who had assumed authority over him were now on the edge, ready to act. But Malik held steady, his focus unshaken. Suddenly, a subtle shift occurred. The pilot's voice came over the intercom, clear and authoritative, stopping the confrontation before it could escalate. Malik's calm resolve, combined with the unseen but imminent intervention, held the room in suspense. Every passenger was about to witness something that would challenge their assumptions, forcing them to confront the truth in a way they had never expected. The cabin held its breath as the pilot's voice cut through the hum of the engines. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, calm but commanding, "there seems to be some confusion regarding one of our passengers. Let me clarify." Every head turned, every whisper ceased, as Malik sat still, composed, knowing the moment had arrived. The pilot explained that Malik was not only a frequent first-class flyer, but also a highly respected aviation safety consultant. He had been invited on this flight to inspect new safety protocols, a role critical to the airline's operations. The passengers who had questioned him had judged him purely by appearances, their assumptions revealing more about their own biases than about Malik. Shock rippled through the cabin. The very people who had tried to confront him now sat frozen, their faces a mixture of guilt, embarrassment, and disbelief. Malik's calm composure contrasted sharply with the chaos he had endured, and it became clear to everyone that courage and dignity often go unnoticed until challenged. Some passengers shifted uncomfortably, attempting to hide their shame, while others nodded slowly, recognition dawning that they had misjudged someone purely based on skin color. Malik's presence had been a mirror reflecting both the prejudice and the fairness in the room. The tension that had gripped the cabin moments ago dissolved, replaced by a quiet, almost reverent realization. Assumptions can blind, but integrity and truth are impossible to ignore. By the time the announcement ended, Malik had not only reclaimed his rightful place in first class, but had also delivered an unspoken lesson. One simple truth resonated throughout the cabin. Real authority, real courage, and real value are never defined by appearances. The passengers who had doubted him would not forget this moment, and neither would anyone who witnessed the unfolding of both prejudice and justice in real time. The cabin slowly returned to its usual rhythm, but nothing felt ordinary anymore. Malik remained seated, calm and composed, while the passengers around him processed what had just happened. Some avoided eye contact, burdened by guilt. Others sat quietly, nodding in recognition of their own prejudices. What had started as a tense confrontation had transformed into an undeniable lesson in humanity. His dignity and calm had not only preserved his own safety, but had revealed the fragility of assumptions and the danger of judging someone before truly knowing them. The passengers' misplaced confidence, based on fear and bias, had been shattered in a single revelation. The story didn't end with Malik simply keeping his seat. It lingered in the minds of everyone aboard, the reminder that prejudice is often invisible, silently shaping our actions, but it can be confronted and corrected. As the plane continued its journey, a quiet reflection settled over the cabin. How many times do we judge others without knowing the full truth? How often do we let fear or bias guide our actions, forgetting that every individual carries their own story, their own worth? And for viewers watching now, the takeaway is clear. Appearances can deceive, assumptions can mislead, but courage, dignity, and truth always shine through. Sometimes in the most unexpected places, and always when we least expect it. If you've experienced or witnessed the same, share your story in the comments. I might even make a video about it to raise awareness and justice. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video so together we can spread the message further.